I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and today we are going over Connection Parenting by Pam Leo. So it's the after episode on parenting. So Connection Parenting, the book is based on Pam Leo's 7-week parenting series, Meeting the Needs of Children, which she's been doing for well over 16 years. And it's basically a book about how parenting should be based on love instead of fear. I was reading a little bit about this Pam Leo, and she sounds amazing. But before I introduce the author, I'd love to introduce our guest, which is Maria.
Hi, I'm
Welcome,
Maria.
Maria.
Hi. Hi, I am here because I am a mom of a little child. So,
and you're one of Izzy's best friends in Poland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Izzy, you're here.
Right.
Izzy. Oh, Izzy.
Yeah. Izzy and Lizzy.
It's just an inside joke, guys, because Izzy was afraid that we will have our own podcast eventually. So.
I was like, they're going to become besties and they're going to just like boot me out.
You're stuck with me, Izzy. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to ask you at first, oh, you're here?
Into our branding.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so Pam Leo, she's amazing. She's an independent scholar in human development. She's a parent herself. She's a parent educator, a certified childbirth educator. She's a doula.
Doula.
She's a parent. She's a grandparent. I love her. I was reading a lot about her. She was born in Maine in 1950, and she was very poor and living in a rural area. And she had no memory of books in her life until the 3rd grade. And her teacher said, okay, well, I'll read aloud to you if you guys are good. Right. So she later became, an advocate for literacy, an advocate for bringing books to children who couldn't afford them. And she just sounds like a very beautiful person. So today we're doing her book, Connection Parenting, which Lizzy said saved her life when she was, a parent. And
it's my parenting Bible.
So
it's my parenting Bible. And when we got to reread it, I mean, I got to read it with this, and it reminded me so many times how I would be crying in the bathroom and go get that book and just like read a few lines out of it, and it would connect me back to myself to connect to her, because there were so many times in parents in especially when she was young, even though now too, I mean, I have to say, it's got its different challenges, but like I use this book, anybody who's on the struggle bus of parenting, which if you're not, you're probably not doing it.
You probably have a lot of nannies and you're probably
not doing it
home a lot. Yeah. Which is not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, there is.
Okay. Yeah, there is. So before we get into the book, it's really appropriate that we're choosing this book, because I think Maria was, before we started recording, she was telling us she had one of the most challenging couple of days.
I wasn't telling. I was crying. Okay, guys, let's get real. I cried like 5 minutes ago. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I wanted to cry with you because like that's so telling. I once had when I lived in the Virgin Islands, I had this group of women, I call them the ladies of the canyon. And my friend Robin, who is gold, she came in one day, and I mean, tears, she's shaking tears. She was nursing 3 children at the time, a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. And she's like, I just can't do this anymore.
How many breasts does she have?
She only had 2, but they were really good ones. Like,
whoa.
Like I'm talking a warrior mom. Like she was just like insane. Wow. And she came in.
That's a lot of milk.
That's a lot of milk. That's a lot of, like, she was taking in nutrition. Like she would come over and I would make her like these power bowls, and like I just, she came in, she was depleted to the max. And I remember all of us, like moms, we were like listening to her. I was like, one mom was like, oh, I just lay down on the ground and let them dance around me. I was like, fuck that. I go in the bathroom and cry like a normal person. But like, so we're like, if you're not crying as a mom, man, I don't know if you're doing it.
You're a psychopath.
You're a psychopath.
If you're not crying. So Maria, do you want to share like a little of what happened? You don't have to go into, what
yeah. So I'm still on this breastfeeding 3 children at once. My kid only yelled at me yesterday. So it's not.
Well, her children were yelling at her too.
Yeah, I know.
Breastfeeding doesn't stop that.
Well, see, I have a 3-year-old. I do not feed her anymore. Breastfeed. I feed her.
I was feeding her. No wonder.
And we found the problem.
I wonder why she's yelling at me. I haven't given her food for a long time. Do you think?
Are you supposed to feed them?
Yeah. So anyway, like I'm laughing through tears. I really am, because we with girls decided to do this about this book, and I started reading it. Listened to it, and it's my daughter's name is Gaia, and Gaia literally, she was so kind to just check on me if I am understanding the book correctly. She was like testing how well I understand it. So
isn't that nice of her?
Yes, she is. She's such a sweet person. So she started to having this really huge tantrums. Like, it's amazing that when I know we were recording, I am able to laugh about it. And like 5 minutes ago, I was like, it was. It's amazing how people work. So anyway, I was like, she had tantrums before. I was really grateful for this book, because every time I am on some kind of workshops or reading a book, even if it's not helping like to resolve the problem, I am more conscious and aware of a lot of things. And this book is written like so simple that you start to understand why things happening, how this emotionally traumas work and it's really simple. So and it's opening this eyes for, it's not against you, it's not that you have an evil child, it's not like it's your fault. And I was listening to it, and I was so amazed by, okay, I can be more calmer with this knowledge. Like Oprah said, you know better, you do better. La, la, la. And when these tantrums are...
Oh, Oprah, like, we love you.
Love Oprah.
Oh, Oprah, yeah. So, I said before the podcast before, I told you guys that I was on this workshop about anger, management, like with the kids. Mm-hmm. I told you this? Okay, yeah. Whatever. So for me, it started to to work all this knowledge that I have from these workshops and books started working. But after I started reading this book, and Gaia got like on the another level of tantrums. And
okay, what
yesterday,
does that mean, another level of tantrums?
I will tell you.
Explain it to somebody who doesn't have children.
Yeah, of course. I'm sorry, and I will get to it like in a minute. And what happened is, it happened yesterday for the first time. That's why I'm so like I cannot find the perfect words to describe everything, because I'm still in shock, because I was trying to do the things that I learned from the book. And the tantrum like level up is, she was yelling, but it was like tantrum. It was like hysteria, Yeah. Mm-hmm. She was all red. She bit me. At first I told her that I tried to, like in the book, I tried to accept her emotion, to be near her, to be a companion, to wait for her emotions to get out. But it wasn't enough. She was going farther and farther with this. So she started to be really aggressive. And I was in such a shock because I couldn't, you can allow for an emotion, but you cannot allow for a behavior, like aggressive behavior, right? Because you don't want to participate.
Make a monster.
But I was in such a shock that I let her bit myself. I literally gave her my hand in such an instinct that it will make her calm down or whatever. I don't know what I was thinking. I did it. And in a second I did it. I was like, what's going on? It's not like
you were in survival mode. You didn't know.
Yeah, but I have a scar. Sorry, Gaia, that I am exposing this. Maybe you will see it one day. I'm really sorry, but I am doing it because maybe one mom will get help from this. I really am truly, it's like from my heart to my daughter. I'm sorry that I'm telling this because I didn't ask her, to if I can share.
Well, and
it.
Gaia, we want to make sure it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay,
Yeah.
Gaia.
All I bit my mom.
Yeah.
Lizzy bit her mom. Scarlett bit Lizzy. We all bite. I've bitten adults when I was an adult. So
Yeah, I've thrown a hell of a temper tantrum at like 40. So.
Oh yeah. So sorry because I want to respect my daughter. Yeah. Yeah, I want to respect her. So I just, in the middle of saying this, I realized that I don't know if I can do this because it's her, But anyway, I did it, and I am doing it because I want to share my experience because I think it's important for us moms to normalize this tough moments, like this really tough moments that you think you're doing something wrong by doing what you can do in this moment. But sometimes, and you need to forgive yourself for a lot of things. And for example, before we started recording, I said to them that I did the worst thing I could because I gave her her hand and then I put the cartoon on. And Lizzy said, no, you did the best thing that you could do because the worst thing you could hit her or whatever, you know what I mean. And
you could lock her under the stairs.
And this is exactly. And this is like why you should talk to other moms and be open about your difficult experiences that can be a little shameful or whatever. But when you open up, another mom can tell you, yeah, I had the same, and take some guilt off you. And
it's the idea of that, and this is where we've lost community in motherhood.
Yeah,
that you're not alone, and you're not the only one that's living with a terrorist.
Exactly, and
so I have a question. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought, and then I have a question for both.
I have like million thoughts, so you don't want me to finish all of them. Like, you go.
So I'm going to bring it back to the book a little bit. So what Pam says is when a child behaves like that, what she says is when you behave that way, I know something is wrong. We love each other, and people who love each other don't treat each other this way. Can you tell me what you need or what is hurting you? In these types of situations, will a child even listen? Like, do you have to wait for the child to calm down? What do you do? Yeah, go ahead, Lizzy.
Well, before you answer or ask that of the child's needs, you have to make sure that they're not tired, they're not hungry, they haven't been emotionally injured.
Before the tantrum,
and so like when those physical needs, if their diaper's bothering them, or if they're itchy, or they're getting sick, or whatever that is, like that comes before those questions are actually asked.
Okay, so it's almost like Maslow's like needs triangle, where the physical
and
needs,
you know what? It's not always the same scenario because there will be a time when I have to. It's exactly about connection because I have to see Gaia and what what is the time now? What's the time to what to do now? You know, like when she was in this tantrum, I couldn't say, I understand your emotions. She's not listening. She can't hear me. She can't hear me. You just have to wait. For me, it's
So
like
what do
this.
you do in
The
those
hurricane.
situations?
What I want to say, when it works for me, it's when I am really uważna, when I'm really in the moment.
Uważna is, in the moment.
In the moment,
paying attention.
and I can connect it exactly, and I can catch the moment before, and I can talk to her like what's going on, and then we can do this. But otherwise, this talking, in our case, can just we can talk after. But now, for example, I wanted to talk to her today in the morning, but it wasn't. I couldn't because she was cranky and she was like, it wasn't like the good time to. I have to talk about her. I have to tell her about this. I have to tell her. But when I was trying to talk to her yesterday, when she was a little bit calmer, she told me, I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
So, like, Lizzy,
Yeah.
you've been through this, right, Lizzy? So what do? You just, you mentioned earlier, you just kind of hunker down and wait for the hurricane.
Well, I'm
and then you get
there.
in the eye of the,
And like I like looking back, she's 11 now, so looking back to when she was 3, like sometimes I just gave her what she wanted because I didn't have the emotional well to manage it. I just didn't. So if I didn't have that, like say she wanted, like Gaia wanted a cartoon, I would just give her the cartoon, you know, but or distraction. It sounded like she was just in the red zone, so she was indistractable. So like sometimes you just have to give them what they want for a minute and just like put yourself in timeout and get your shit together. Like before we got online, you were saying that she was exhausted. Her dad just left town.
Yeah.
You were just in a transition. Transitions are terrible for children because they're uncertain. You know, it was like the perfect storm for Gaia. So like,
Yeah.
you know, and it sounded like, and we were talking, you said, I haven't been self-caring. I don't have the well for me. So you didn't even have that to give her. So it was like everybody was on E. Everybody, like it was like the perfect storm, and that's going to happen. And I think, you know, I wouldn't let her bite me on purpose, but you know what? If that's what it took to survive the moment, then that's what it took to survive the moment.
Yeah,
I don't think we have to stop judging ourselves in the way, like, remember when Scarlett bit me? I told the story last time. She bit me and I just out of instinct backhanded her in the mouth. And it's the one and only time. And I'm going to tell you, I've told that story and she loves when I tell that story. Like she kind of gets excited about it and she laughs about it because I've made it okay to make mistakes as a mother in front of her. And then like when that happened, I went back when we were calm and I said, it's never okay for anybody to hit you. But if anyone ever bites you, I want you to hit them.
What I want, I really
so
say this.
I rewound and repaired.
Yeah, but what I really want to say, what this experience means to me so much that I let her bit myself, and that I was in shock, and everybody was on empty, fuel. That for me it was like a light here that okay, this is the time when you need to figure out how to set the boundaries. Like something is happening, not only because Gaia was tired and everything, but something is happening with our connection and my leadership as a parent. For me, I know I don't want her to bit me anymore. Like, my boundaries. And what you said, when I am in this phase that I am rested, I am in the Zen mode, I can do whatever she like. I can wait through the tantrum. I understand her, and everything. I am calm, and that's why it. I think that's why it takes shorter time. Because
Pam Leo said the seventh, there's 6 things that don't have to do with, or that we're reacting to or responding to. But the 7th ingredient is that we have to have a well of our cup has to be full before we can really withstand connecting with them when they're in those places. Like, you just can't do it.
For me, it's even higher.
Yeah, it says like, like they say when, there's an airline, you put you gotta put the mask on yourself
exactly.
first.
Yeah.
Which is not like I think is like everybody uses that, but here's the deal. Any mother I know would put their child's mask on first.
Yeah.
Any mother I know. It's like it's not our instinct to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, but when you remember, I know what you mean, but when you remember about it, and even like 1 in 10 times, it's better than do not remember about it, because sooner or later it will come up, it will like destroy you. You know what I mean? Like you need to recharge, you need to, but what happened yesterday was I was so unprepared, because I was in my mind, I was already putting her to sleep and me working a little bit, and then I had a whole scenario, and I'm trying not to do this anymore. Like when I am a mom, I'm trying not to have the scenarios that I am attached to, and I attached to my scenario, and it was like it was like, what, like and I really wanted my time. I wanted her to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, and I think that, and what happened, and I am proud of myself that I froze instead of react like in my emotions.
That's
because maybe it's not the best way to do, but it's better than for me to yell at her, or for me to grab her, or for me to act on my emotions.
Bully her.
Yeah. So what I did was like Pam Leo says, the time out is for parents, not for children.
So smart.
Yeah. So I really read it. I mean, listened to it. So I needed, and I did it. I took myself to take time out, and I waited until I was like a little bit aware of, okay, so what will be the next best step?
Yeah.
And this is something that I am proud of myself. And I think that this is because I am learning, and I am reading these books. I am going to these workshops. I am talking to moms. I'm talking to people that are, growing, and I am growing, and I am open to this. And that's why I can do better, because I know better. Oprah.
Oh, God, love Oprah.
I mean, that's Pam Leo says that. She says, even if we can't parent in the most nurturing ways all the time, the more often we can, the more our children get what they need, the better they will be able to weather the times when we parent in less nurturing ways. So I kind of just like that. It's just progress, not perfection,
Well, and it's so important to be imperfect in front of our children, because failure is inevitable. Success isn't. Then if you get comfortable with failure, you'll eventually succeed. And if I think so many times parents want their children to be like, I know, or they want their children to think that they know everything. They know the best ways. They're always right. And the fact of the matter is they're not. We're not always right. We're going to fail. We're going to have these times when our cup isn't full, and we're going to, I've lost it on Scarlett and screamed at her, and just basically come and knelt by her and cried and said, I should not have spoken to you like that. Next time I'm going to try to do this, and I may fail again, but I'm going to try. I'm going to keep trying to be better. And she's like, she ends up comforting me, which, it's, we're in this together. It's a we, it's not a you versus me, and we're on the same team. And I think so many times when you realize, it's not me against this little person, it's we, when we're
in the world.
in the world. Like it's we.
Yeah.
So,
and she talks about that too. This book was like, so it was eye-opening for me as well. I don't have children, but it's a way to, it's actually can be for adults.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Isa, because when I was listening to it, I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about me without Gaia. That it's a book not only for parents. It's a book of connection, connecting. Like the first sentence she's saying, like one of the first sentences is like, and I was like, wow, it's amazing. She says, "We don't care how much people know until we know how much they care," and I was like. Oh my! I have goosebumps, and it's like, well, and it's not connected. Like, it's not connected with parenting. It's like with every relationship, and even with relationship with ourselves. Like me with Maria, with me, And I was going to ask you what do you took from this book for your growth as a person, not a mother.
Well, I was even thinking of in my relationship, and I love that you said in my relationship with myself, so I'm going to explore that later. But in my relationship with my partner, instead of child, I put partner. Whenever my partner responds negatively, we look for the hidden or unmet need. When you behave this way, I know something is wrong.
Love it. Love it.
We love each other, and people who love each other don't treat each other this way. Can you tell me what you need or what is hurting you?
Perfect.
So
and
good.
I'm like, I'm stealing that. I don't have children, but I'm using it with my partner. Like,
well, and the line,
love that.
the line when you go to them is, "What do you need?" It totally changes. It totally changes the dynamic from me against you to us against the world. Like, what do you need?
Yeah.
It's a relationship book. If like so many times in relationship, the problem is we're not being respected or we're not respecting the other person. And this is all about respecting these little creatures as humans. And I think that this book does a really good job of teaching you how to be respectful in general.
How to be respectful. And for me, what I got out of it was, if there is a negative behavior, there is an unmet need. Finding out what is that unmet need, because that is what children don't, Lizzy talked about this a lot. Children don't have the vocabulary, so they will scream, cry, but sometimes adults don't have the vocabulary.
A lot.
So they will scream, cry. They will scream a lot.
And exploring how they were dealt with as children is a huge deal. Like Jason would go into like mute. He would go like gray rock on me when I had a need, and he didn't feel like he was filling it. But his mom would go quiet on him. So that was kind of how they dealt with that.
There is this moment in the book when she is talking about how like the emotions are the same for adults and for children. It doesn't and for gender, but we as children, when we were growing up, for example, for a girl, you can cry, but don't be angry. It's not a good look for a girl to be angry, right? For a guy, don't cry. You're a big boy. You don't need to cry. And she talks about that when men are angry from our generation, when men are sad, they are getting angry because this was the way that they were allowed to express emotions or, sadness. You don't cry. But when a woman is angry, she cries because she can cry. She's not like, brr. And
oh my God, you've just blown my mind right now.
Yes, and when I remember this one scene from my relationship, when I heard this, how she was talking about it, I remember when I crushed my finger, I closed the door of the car on my finger. It was brutal. And I went back home, and my Octavian, my boyfriend, we didn't have a child then, he yelled at me, "How can you do this? How can you be so, not taking care of yourself?" He was screaming at me. He didn't give me an ice. He was screaming. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't do anything. Like, what happened? And so I took the ice. I started crying. I went to the bedroom. I was packing my stuff in my mind. Like, I don't want to be with this guy. What the hell is going on? He's yelling at me and I'm hurting. And he came into the room, and that's when I fell in love again. Like, he went into the room and he was like, I'm sorry, I am a jerk. I was so scared that I had to yell at you because I didn't know what. And we started talking about it. He was so scared that I was injured that his mechanism was to get angry on it, because his mom was doing it. When he was hurt, he was angry at him. Why did you fall down? Can you just be, nie możesz uważać. How do you say it? Like, uważaj.
Can you watch out?
Yeah, can you watch out to yourself? Like, are you stupid? Like, you need to watch under your feet. Like, bleh. So, and he noticed it, and he didn't read any book like I did yesterday. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And for me, it was like, oh my God, I love you so much, because
they're stopping the patterns.
And we are growing together. And for me, and I remember this because this is exactly it. Men, they are angry when they are sad, and we are sad when we are angry.
So true. So,
So there's a lot of things in this book. Only like for humans, like this relationships with everybody and with ourselves. I have a lot of examples, for example, from me and myself, like from this book, and it was like, what
is that blows your mind, doesn't it? Isn't that interesting?
It does, because I'm a crier, and you've told me you should get angry. Lizzy, because like last week some stuff happened, and she's like, why aren't you angry? And all I could do was cry, because that's all I can do.
Yeah.
And he, his mother passed, like lots of stuff has been going on. He has been getting more yelly, and I realized it's his grief.
Yeah.
It's his grief. And so I'm going to cry, because this book has just really opened up a lot of stuff. So this is amazing.
Now I will say about the book, if you do decide to get it, Pam, let's talk. You need to get somebody to read this book for you, because your reading voice is a little on the it's kind of on the dry side, and we need
We'll do it, Pam.
We've got you.
We love you so much.
Pam. We've got you. I would do it for free.
I fell asleep like 3 times.
Yeah.
I am really sorry, but I value your work so much, and I thank you so much for it. But you're not meant to read at all.
No, there are people that do that. There are companies out there that you can pay.
But anyway, how good is that book that even because I cannot listen to books that are bad read, or I can hear the pages, I can do it. I'm not listening to this, but I listened to this because it was so interesting. So maybe it's like kind of her trick. Like, who is ready?
Yeah,
I'm really determined.
Who is ready? Who is really determined? Like, it's my test. Yeah. But anyway, I would love to. I will listen to it again, and I want a copy. And
the paper version saved my ass, because I could take it to the bathroom and just like read it real quick while I was like weeping.
It's almost like some people open up the Bible and read a verse to get through it. Like, this is this book. So I suggest we all get the paper version.
It's so good.
So what did you all, Lizzy, you read it again and listened to it again. What did you get out of it this time?
It's funny because every time you read it, you get something. So Scarlett's 11 now, and things are changing for her. And let me just real quick, for people who don't know this about me, Scarlett, we didn't raise her normally. We raised her on the island. We were in a preschool co-op with these absolutely magical moms. So I had a super awesome community. So when she was fierce, I could reach out to them. And I think that, like before you got on we started recording, you were crying, but I think it's really important for us to know that we're not alone in this. So I had this huge community who all loved Scarlett and got to know her. And then we moved to the States, and people raise their children differently here. So I didn't really kind of put two and two together that like everyone's so busy here. Everyone's so like, they're always so like, I mean, not only about, they're not even about their own needs, not let alone their children's. Like everyone's going. Everybody's in 3 different sports. And I just never fit in with that. Like Scarlett can do, like we do one sport and we take
You only
Wednesday
have one, the time you have. Like, I know, I feel you because I'm like, how do people do this? All this
Why?
stuff. And
Why do they do it?
why is like, okay, why everybody has their own why, right? But how do you do it with the same amount of time that I have? Because I have exactly like I want to be here with my daughter and I'm still doing a lot of things with her, but if I would like to raise her as I am, I mean to companion her with her as I am doing it, so be present and be connected and do all this, I cannot go to do so many things with her because I wouldn't be there. Like, I don't have this capacity.
It's a fight. It's a fight. And I witnessed it. And like part of this book was great because it was like, oh yeah, I do all those things. And that's why Scarlett is different. That's why she's different. Like everybody, oh my God, she's so mature. She's so polite. She's so this, she's so that. And I'm like, so reading this book, I was like, oh, that's why she is the way she is because we've done this. We've done it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you give some examples just so for our listeners, like what have you done that from this book was like one of, because I'm sure you've done a lot of the stuff, but that was just really important.
Respecting her as a human being is first and foremost. And, at least giving her 33% of the family bandwidth, is a big deal. And respecting the things that she wanted to do. When when we first moved here, she wanted to be in gymnastics. She was like all about Simone Biles and everything. And like, we put her into gymnastics and got her all set up on like a 6-week course. And like one day she was like, I don't want to go there anymore. And I was like, oh, Scarlett, you love it. Like we had already bought her like the bars and we bought her we went all in because she's like, we go all in and stuff. And we were sitting there. I went to the washroom at a restaurant and came back and Jason said, well, I've got news. I said, well, what's that? Scarlett's not going back to gymnastics. I was like, really? And I was like, why? He said, because she's just told me she doesn't like the way the instructor looks at her. It makes her uncomfortable. So we just didn't ever go back because we respect her boundaries in life. And I think that's a really important one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably more than any, like we respect what she thinks about her environment. I think that's the best thing we can do for women is teach them to respect their intuitions and their feelings and stuff like that. But we respect what she wants. And I think that's a really important thing because I've seen since, especially moving here, but even on the island, I mean, parents just fucking bully their kids all day long. It's just,
exactly.
it's crazy.
Yeah. And even if they don't, it doesn't mean that they don't love them because it's the same thing. When all parents, she says, Pam says it also in the book, there is no parent in the world that wakes up and thinks how to fuck their children's life. Every parent wants and is doing the best that they know of, that they can. And some parents, they don't know that they bully their children because they think it's like discipline. Or, for example, parents would say, yeah, but if she wants to be a gymnastic and big one, you need to force her at a point because blah, blah, blah. They have their reasoning, and if you do not open the mind for the boundaries and for that, maybe one day she will go back and say to you, I want to go back to the gymnast, but to this class, but in the different, with different teacher or whatever, because you need to trust her, right? For me, what I realized that I am doing, and it's like not my case, and thank God for that. It's different that in this book is a respect, but in a different way, because Gaia is smaller. So, for example, I am always, for example, for her, something is really important. And from my perspective as an adult, it could be like, what the fuck? It's not that big of deal. But I am always in the same position of viewing things that it's so important to you and it's so important to me. Even if I'm thinking it's like, oh my God, you're going to get over it for like after a minute. But no, in this moment, it's important for her. Like she needs to pick up this leaf. Look, there is this leaf. I need to pick it up.
Right.
And I could be like,
her priorities
no, we don't have
very
time,
important.
blah, blah, blah. I could do this because I don't have time. We are on our way. But I am like, what leaf? Oh, this one. Okay, let's, and she's taking this leaf and we are but what's growing is, I think what I feel is this trust between us, that I am with her and that I am I am connecting with her then, because my parents, they didn't know that, but they diminished our needs, this needs, like not the important, like this big ones, but the small ones, like, no, it doesn't important. You need to, cheer up. It doesn't matter, or it's not a big of deal, but it was a big deal for me. And then when you hear a lot of times, it's not a big deal, stop crying, or it's not a big deal, get over it. You need to, stop trusting yourself, and you're like, am I feeling what I'm feeling? Is it true or false, or is it like? And this is for me the crucial thing for Gaia to trust her feelings, emotions, like as it comes what she, like when she, like Scarlett, like he looks at me and I don't like it, it's just a feeling. He's not, it's a feeling. But if she feels it, it's her gut, it's her, energy, and I'm really a big believer in it. And I want Gaia
you have to trust her intuition before she can trust her intuition.
Yeah.
Of course, yes. And sometimes it will be like,
Yeah. So what, Lizzy read this book already. Maria, you had read it for the first time. Anything like stand out to you that you're like, oh my gosh, yes? Or
that's what I was going to tell you is like, I was going through all the needs and stuff. I was like, God, I don't play with Scarlett enough.
Okay.
Like I need to find ways that I can play with her more. Like she has so many interests that I love too. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to get creative here, because like those needs are not being met. And she doesn't go to school, so she doesn't have a lot of like people to play with. So it's just me, like a lot of times. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to have to become a lot better with that. So I did like order a shit ton of like board games and fun games, and she loves trivia, and I do too. So like I'm trying to get more play in it, because I will like say this, and I don't mean like it sounds terrible, but there is like my purgatory is going to be having to get down and play with dinosaurs for hours on end. Like there is nothing worse than sometimes playing with your child when you don't want to. I'd rather be on, Instagram or doing the dishes or doing like getting my shit done. I just don't like to play sometimes. Yeah. So I'm like finding fun things to play.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I love that. How about you, Maria? What are you taking from, like, we're gonna sorry. What are you taking from this book? Like, what's the thing that you read it and you're like, I'm taking that?
Hey, Maria, before you answer, we have to ask her the same question or she gets really upset. Just so you know, don't forget.
Yeah, I was trying to ask her before, like, what do you get from this book? And I was trying to do
She
this.
got
and-
it. She
yeah,
did it.
okay,
She knows. She knows me.
She knows. Okay, cool. Because
No, but
like
I am.
sometimes
It's
I
not
drop
like.
that ball.
But it's not like
It's okay. We all make mistakes.
it's not like I did it because I know that we need to ask you also. But I am really curious. Like, I am a
You're
parent for a
naturally
short.
polite.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Impolite would be a good shirt.
Impolite, yeah, that's a good one. There is a lot of things that I am like I want to embody from this book, but I know it will take a lot of practice. And this is like one general thing that I am taking from it, because there is a lot of things that are amazing. Like you said, about playing, I realize that I'm playing with Gaia what I like to, because I cannot do what she wants, and I don't want it because I am not there. And I told her this, and it was miracle.
Yeah.
Because you know what she told me? What do you want to play? I will play with you. And I'm like, do you want to do dishes with me? I didn't want to do dishes, but it's like, it's not a play, but it's a play for grown-ups. You know what I mean? And I had to do this, but she wanted to play. So I invited her to play with me, but I like to draw, or I like to do puzzles, and I can do this with her. But I can do a lot of things, and I am not doing it. And I'm telling her that I can do this, and this is like not for me. And it's also, for me, it's okay. But what I took from this book in general is like, you need to do these things. You need to practice. For example, and you need to practice a lot. Like, it's not only you read this or you listen to it. She's saying this. You need to experience it. You need to do the exercises that I'm telling you. And that's why I did all this, this tabelki, this
Journaling?
Tables. Journaling.
yeah,
Tables.
journaling. And I don't like to do this, but it's a huge difference when I am practicing it. And I know it's obvious, but for me, it's like obvious, but I need to tell myself this, because there's a lot of things in my life that I know that I should do differently or better. I'm not doing it. It's like I was quitting cigarettes for like 10 years. I knew that it's not good for me, but I was, cigarettes are not good for you. They will kill me.
Gotta die some way. That's what
like,
smokers always say.
Yeah. So it took me a lot of years just to do this. And now, during this book, I was like, I'm going to do this. Maybe that's why with this emotional Wi-Fi that Gaia has, she is testing me now, because I have to, because she's doing it. We had this little period of amazing time, and
like in this book, she talks about the number one thing is leading by example.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was. Thank you, Lizzy. This is what I was going to say with all these words.
Leading by example is the number one thing we can do.
Yeah, I love that.
Isa,
thank you, lady.
Can you tell us?
Me.
Isa,
Me?
we're dying to know. Everyone's been waiting.
No, I think, you know what? It's so funny, but it's in the book, but also more from this podcast about the men not being able to cry, so they yell, and the women not being able to get angry, so they cry. That was completely eye-opening for me. So that helps me understand myself, because I'm a huge crier, and I'm like, I have to look at, am I really angry? Because I think I'm just, so it's helping me understand myself better and my partner. And then just this one sentence that it has just stayed with me. When you behave that way, I know something is wrong. We love each other, and people who love each other don't treat each other this way. Can you tell me what you need or what is hurting you? I think that is an amazing, I'm going to post that all over our social media, because I think
would love that.
Just a couple sentences that need to be said often.
Yeah.
A lot. What do you need?
And isn't it amazing? What's amazing for me is that you hear it all the time. When you understand something, it's better for you to cope with, but you really do. Like, the tantrums are the same or worse even, but when I know that it's not against me, or it's like not because she's evil, or that it's about the need that she has, or unmet, or that it's like an event, or that she's venting, for me it's easier. Even if it was really hard for me yesterday, it was because I am tired, blah blah, but it's still easier than it was before I knew all these things, that before I knew about all these coping mechanisms with emotions. And this is in this book really important for me also, that I understood that we work that way. We are that way. You know, you have all these emotions, and during the day you're pressing it, blah, blah, blah. And then in this safe space, as parents are safe space for our kids, we are safe space for our partners or whatever, then you can vent.
Well, and I think that's important from a global, like if you look at it globally,
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes people are in their car and they have road rage. That's their safe space. They don't have anything else.
Yeah,
like their emotional or physical needs aren't being met, and they rage behind the wheel. Like, there are so many things that we take personally in life that have nothing to do with us. Almost everything. Almost everything.
Yes,
like when I look at somebody who's like freaking out about fucking Trump or Biden online, I'm like, okay, literally, like,
what's wrong?
Are you not? I mean, there's obviously there's a category.
Are you getting laid, or what's going on?
Seriously, you took the words right out of my mouth. Somebody needs to get their pipes cleaned.
I just wanted to thank you, Maria, for you've been an awesome guest. So
well, and I want to say that so many people reached out to me and said how absolutely lovely you are.
Yeah.
So
really?
Yeah, so we'll be starting another podcast together. No, I'm just kidding. But no, they like so many people reached out and said that you were just absolutely a joy.
Oh my God, it's so nice to hear, because it's like I'm not the biggest fan of myself lately, so it's like really good.
You're fucking killing it. I don't know how else to say it.
Let us love you until you learn to love yourself.
You're killing it. We're gonna sit with you in your tantrum, and you're gonna be amazing.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, I love
and
you guys.
once again, I want to say to Gaia, thank you for teaching me all this stuff, and sorry for me being so exposed, but your mom is like that.
Yeah.
You
picked
are
her.
amazing, Gaia. We love you. Yeah.
You picked her, Gaia.
Maria.
We love you, Maria. Right. See you next Tuesday.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, girls.
See you guys. Bye.
See you next Tuesday. Bye. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Rate and follow us if you like us. If you don't, please don't.
And come visit us at www.theweneedhelppodcast.com. There you can find show notes, links for books. You can join Audible, which is, how we actually read our books. We listen to them, and we have special exclusive content just for you. Also, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon account. That's where you can support us financially, because we need it. And it can be anywhere from $1 to $100 billion a month, whatever you can afford. And the link to our Patreon account is www.patreon, and that's spelled patreon.com/We Need Help Podcast. And you can support us on there. We would really appreciate it, because we do need help.
Awesome. And we will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Thanks,
Bye.
loves. Bye.